All right, do I think Mississippi River is Euphrates, and where do I think Egypt is? Awesome question, thank you. Yes, so I do currently have the Mississippi marked as Euphrates. And then the Missouri is the Tigris, and the Platte River would be the Gihon. And then Yellowstone is Pishon, to the best of my current understanding. I do have lots of questions regarding the four rivers of Eden. Um, I've gone back and forth a little bit on what I think those rivers are, but also trying to learn more about how rivers used to run. For example, I know that I believe to be the Tigris, which is the Missouri, there is evidence that at one point it actually ran north into into Canada and into what's the name of it? Hudson Bay. That it used to actually run north into the Hudson Bay, and there was a massive glacial lake up there, and when that lake started really draining, it pushed the water so that it reversed the flow and pushed it down south. From the research I've done and from what geologists say, and also that the Euphrates used to run out, or the Mississippi used to also run out of that lake, and was called Glacial River Warren, and ran down. You can see the purple line up there that's where it used to run, and it came down through the Minnesota River Valley there. It's called Glacial River Warren. And so, with the Bible says that the Tigris ran east of Assyria, which the way it flows currently today, it does kind of. But if it ran north and into the Hudson, it would exactly kind of run around the eastern, what I'm assuming would be the eastern border of what was Assyria. So there's lots of nuances and things that we don't know, that I'm not sure of. But overall, yes, I do believe Euphrates is the Mississippi, and the verbiage in the Bible also tends to lead to that. Like if you look up the Hebrew meaning of a lot of the words used to describe Euphrates, it's often referenced as just the river, and it's a male word. There's some other things I'm not failing to remember right now. But basically, it's kind of the same words we use today for the Mississippi, like Old Man River, big river, big muddy, right? Because it's referenced as a big muddy. Different things, similar verbiage, but also just the land. I mean, because there's the references to the four rivers of Eden, but in other places in the Bible, there's more information about these rivers and what territories they bordered. And so looking at those scriptures, the Euphrates is a big border of the greater, what I call the greater promised land, the greater Eden. And all of the biblical stories thus far take place west of the Mississippi, best I can tell. I do question if Babylonia perhaps extended further east, kind of into the Great Lakes region, although I don't think the Great Lakes were there back then, from what I can tell. And then there's the whole thing about maybe Gopher Wood in Florida and maybe Noah built his ark there, kind of thing, but that's not actually referenced in the Bible aside from the Gopher Wood thing, right? And I know there's a lot of chatter online about the Euphrates being the Nile. However, I'm finding that is not at all lining up with scriptural directives. And the reason people think that, I think, is largely because there have been so many Egyptian type artifacts found along the Mississippi corridor. The whole Memphis thing, Memphis, Tennessee, And there have been different things found, like in Illinois and I think even Ohio, that are very Egyptian. There's a lot of correlation to Kentucky and Tennessee being Egyptian. And I'm not saying that it's not. However, at least in the biblical timeline that we're looking at, it's very clear that Egypt was down south of Utah or Judah. And it becomes very clear with study that the Nile, or what we call the Nile, it's not really named the Nile in the Bible, in that Egypt was south of the Grand Canyon / part of the Grand Canyon as well. So I believe that Egypt, there's also all the correlation to the Grand Canyon and Egyptian stuff, which I get into in other videos. Some I've touched on. I haven't done a deep dive on it publicly yet, but Egypt, like we have, it seems that the Israelites came out of actually the Las Vegas area, and we've kind of tracked where they've gone. Seer of the Times has done an immense amount of work on that. So yes, Egypt is south of the Grand Canyon, and Grand Canyon may be part of Egypt as well, but I am not sure how far it extended, like how far south it extended, how far east it extended, etc. And there does seem to possibly have been some sort of move eastward of the Egyptians, just from different, just kind of the patterns I've seen researching stuff that, and if Memphis is Memphis, Tennessee, it was relocated there. It was not the original one. And it seems likely that it maybe did relocate, because, the Bible says Memphis was destroyed, Egypt was destroyed. There's lots of destruction prophecies. So, at some point they kind of set up Egypt 2.0 almost. That's my thought on that. Like, I don't have hard data to back that up. That's just kind of the picture that is forming in my head as I research this more and more. So anyway, that was kind of long and convoluted and rambling, but hopefully that answers your question a little bit. If not, or if you have more questions, let me know. I can do my best to share at least my thoughts on it.